Every human being fights two battles. The first is out there, with the world, the people, the noise, the chaos. The second, the real one, is in here, inside the mind. Most people lose the second battle before the first even begins. Their thoughts turn against them. They drown in what-ifs, overthinking, self-criticism, and fear. But over 2,000 years ago, a group of philosophers discovered a way to end that inner war. They called their path Stoicism. Not a religion, not an emotionless shell, but a training of the mind to see reality as it is. Today, you'll walk through 10 brutal Stoic laws. Not gentle advice, but mental rewiring codes forged in hardship. Each one cuts through illusions that create negative thinking. Each one returns power to you. This is not entertainment. This is training. Let's begin. Law number 1. Control what you can, let go of what you can't. The first Stoic law is simple to understand and hard to live. It divides the universe into two zones. Number 1, things under your control, your judgments, intentions, choices, and actions. Number 2, everything else, other people, the past, the weather, outcomes, reputation, luck. Negative thinking thrives when these two zones blur. You worry about what others think. You try to control how life unfolds. You suffer when reality doesn't match your script. Epictetus compared it to pulling a cart with a dog tied to it. If the dog runs willingly, it moves freely. If it resists, it's still dragged, but painfully. The cart is fate. Your freedom is choosing how to move with it. Imagine losing a job, a relationship, or a plan. Most minds react with, "This shouldn't have happened." The Stoic mind asks, "Is this within my control?" If yes, act wisely. If not, release it immediately. When you truly practice this, you'll notice something astonishing. Peace appears not from winning control, but from surrendering illusion. To apply this law, each morning remind yourself, "I control my thoughts, not events." When anxiety rises, whisper internally, "Not my zone." Focus energy only where your influence is real. Law number 2, perception is power. Everything that disturbs your peace begins not with what happened, but with how you see what happened. A traffic jam doesn't create anger. Your belief that you're being delayed unfairly does. An insult doesn't create pain. Your interpretation that you've been disrespected does. Failure doesn't create depression. Your story that you are not enough does. The Stoics discovered that your perception is the birthplace of all emotion. You don't experience the world directly, you experience your judgments of it. And because judgment is a mental habit, it can be retrained. The same danger. One curses the waves and panics. The other tightens the ropes and steadies the ship. The difference is not in the storm, it's in perception. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed, and you haven't been." That is the quiet power Stoicism offers. You can't always change what happens, but you can always change what it means to you. The Stoics called this the art of perception, the ability to step back from instant reaction and see things as they are, without story. Seneca called it viewing events without adding your opinion. When something painful occurs, the Stoic mind pauses. It asks, what are the facts? What part of this is my interpretation? Most of the time, 90% of your suffering exists in the second question. Try this reflection. Next time someone speaks harshly to you,
Don't label them as rude. Just observe. A person used words, and sound entered my ears. That's it. The mind wants to add meaning, to build a story, but you can choose silence. You can watch the wave pass without drowning in it. This is what the Stoics meant when they said, the obstacle is not the event, it's your opinion of it. When you master perception, you gain a kind of invincibility. People can insult you, yet you remain calm. Events can shift, yet you adapt. Failure can arrive, yet you see it as feedback, not fate.
Law number 3, Amor Fati, love of fate. Marcus Aurelius. A blazing fire makes flame and brightness out of everything that is thrown into it. Most people fight against life. They resist what happens, complain about the past, and fear the future. But the Stoics taught a radical idea, Amor Fati, the love of fate. Not tolerance, not acceptance, love. To love fate means to look at everything that happens, good or bad, and say, this too I choose. Think about it. When you only welcome pleasure, success, and ease, you're not loving life, you're loving comfort. But life includes loss, pain, change, and death. To truly love life, you must love all of it. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, whatever happens to you was prepared for you from all eternity, and the thread of cause weaves it together with everything else. The Stoics saw the universe as one vast living body. Every event, even the painful ones, is part of that body's harmony. When something difficult happens, it's not against you, it's for you. It's a lesson, a test, a sharpening stone. Imagine your life as a fire. If life throws you pain, that's wood. If it throws you loss, that's fuel. If it throws you failure, that's oxygen. The fire does not choose, it consumes. And in consuming, it grows brighter. That is Amor Fati, the transformation of suffering into strength. Think of one event in your life you still wish had never happened. Now imagine who you would be without it. Would you have learned what you know now? Would you have grown stronger, wiser, or more awake? Every scar contains wisdom. Every disappointment has direction hidden inside it. Amor Fati is the lens that turns regret into gratitude. Law number 4, Memento Mori, remember death. Marcus Aurelius. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. Every breath you take could be your last. Every morning you wake is a gift that billions before you no longer have. The Stoics carried this awareness not as darkness, but as light, a compass that pointed them toward truth. Memento Mori. Remember that you will die. Those words sound grim to the modern mind, but to the Stoic, they are liberating. Death is not to be feared. It is to be remembered, because remembering death makes life burn brighter. Seneca wrote, "Let us prepare our minds as if we'd come to the very end of life. Let us postpone nothing. Let us balance life's books each day." Every second you waste on anger, jealousy, or complaint is a second you never get back. Memento Mori cuts through illusion. It whispers, you are temporary. Choose wisely. Imagine holding an hourglass in your hands. Each grain of sand that falls is a moment of your life. You can't stop the sand, but you can decide what you do while it's falling. How many people live as if they'll never die? They chase approval, possessions, arguments, forgetting that the clock above them never stops ticking. The Stoics saw death as a teacher. When you remember that everything ends, you start to see what truly matters. Kindness, wisdom, presence, gratitude. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his journal, Do not act as if you were going to live 10,000 years. Death hangs over you. While you live, while it is in your power, be good. He was emperor of Rome, surrounded by power, war, and temptation. Yet he used the thought of death to stay humble, patient, and kind. He knew, all crowns fall to dust. All victories fade. Only virtue remains. Memento Mori does not invite despair. It invites urgency, not panic, but presence. You stop waiting to start living. You stop saying, someday. When you remember that your time is limited, you speak more truth. You forgive faster. You waste less time on people and things that drain your soul.
Law number 5, the discipline of desire. Seneca, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. How much of your suffering is real? And how much exists only in your mind? Fears, assumptions, stories that never came true. The Stoics observed that most of what torments the human spirit does not actually happen. It is imagined. It is rehearsed endlessly in thought. You fear failure before it arrives. You rehearse arguments that never occur. You live 1,000 painful futures while the present moment, quiet and neutral, passes by unnoticed. Seneca warned that the mind, when left untrained, becomes a factory of suffering. It produces fear out of air, pain out of shadows. He wrote, "There are more things likely to frighten us than to crush us. We suffer more from imagination than from reality." The Stoic solution was the discipline of desire, the art of mastering what we want and what we fear. To live without unnecessary desire doesn't mean you stop pursuing goals. It means you pursue them without attachment. You work, you build, you love, but you do not beg life for guarantees. If it comes, you are grateful. If it leaves, you remain whole. This is the essence of Stoic tranquility, wanting only what reality gives you and nothing more. Law number 6, the discipline of action. Marcus Aurelius, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be one. The Stoics were not armchair thinkers, they were doers, warriors, emperors, slaves, senators, teachers, men and women who lived their philosophy through action. Because knowledge without embodiment is nothing. You can read every quote, repeat every mantra, and still remain unchanged. It is only through action that Stoic principles take root and shape reality. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire during war, plague, and betrayal. He wrote in his journal not for others, but for himself, to stay aligned with wisdom while acting in chaos. He knew the mind can understand virtue, but only the body can prove it. To the Stoics, action was the discipline of courage. It meant doing what reason and duty demanded, even when comfort begged you to stop. Ask yourself, how much time do you spend thinking about the right thing instead of doing it? How often do you wait to feel ready, as if clarity will appear before you begin? The Stoic answer is simple. You act, and clarity follows. You move, and understanding deepens. Waiting for perfect emotion is the enemy of reason. Seneca wrote, "While we waste our time hesitating and postponing, life is slipping away. Every hesitation is a small death of potential." The Stoic acts, not rashly, but immediately, because action is the only place life exists. Law number 7, the discipline of assent. Epictetus, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. Every moment, thousands of thoughts pass through your mind. Some are wise. Some are emotional reactions. Some are lies whispered by fear. The Stoics taught that you cannot control what thoughts arrive, but you can control which ones you allow to stay. That power is called the discipline of assent, the ability to say yes or no
to each impression that enters your mind. When something happens, a look, a comment, a failure, your mind immediately creates a judgment. I've been disrespected. I'm not good enough. This is terrible. The untrained mind assents. It agrees without question. But the Stoic pauses. They say, hold on. Is this thought true? Is it useful? Is it in my control? If not, they let it pass, like a cloud drifting across the sky. This is mental discipline at its highest level. To the Stoics, your mind is a fortress. Every thought is a visitor knocking on the gate. You decide who enters. Letting in every thought, fear, jealousy, pride, worry, is like leaving the gate wide open for invaders. But when you learn to guard the gate, peace becomes your permanent residence. Growth requires silence when others shout. It requires walking a different path and the courage to be misunderstood. The Stoics were not performers. They didn't seek applause. They sought mastery of the soul, and mastery often looks strange to the crowd. They'll call your calmness indifference. They'll call your simplicity weakness. They'll call your silence pride. But a Stoic smiles and continues walking because they know who they are, and that is enough. So guard your mind like sacred ground. Do not let every wandering thought plant roots there. Let only truth, calm, and virtue take residence. And when the world laughs or misunderstands you, smile quietly, because peace needs no applause.
Law number 8, the view from above. Marcus Aurelius, look down from above on the countless gatherings and countless ceremonies and all the journeys of many seasons. From up there, everything appears small. The Stoics practiced a meditation known as the view from above. It was a way to escape the prison of the ego, the endless me, my problem, my pain. By rising mentally above the earth, they saw life as it truly is, vast, connected, and fleeting. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine yourself standing in a quiet field at night. Above you, endless sky, billions of stars, the soft breath of wind moving through the grass. Now slowly imagine yourself rising upward. You float above the city, above the lights, above the noise. You see the streets like veins of light, each carrying tiny lives, rushing, hoping, worrying, just like you. Rise higher. See your city shrink into a small shape on the map. Then your country, then the whole earth, blue and fragile, floating in silence. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "How small are the things we fight over. How soon they are buried in forgetfulness." The Stoics used this exercise to cure attachment. When you look at life from above, you realize how short our time is, how connected every being is, and how foolish it is to let trivial emotions rule eternity's brief guests. This meditation does not make you distant from life. It brings you closer to it. Because when you see how delicate and short everything is, you start treating people more gently. You forgive more easily. You appreciate more deeply. From above, even your enemies look like frightened souls, trying, failing, hoping, just like you.
Law number 9, the inner citadel. The Stoics believed that every human being carries within them a fortress, an inner citadel, a mental stronghold where peace, dignity, and reason reside. No army, insult, failure, or tragedy can breach it. The only way it falls is if you open the gates from within. Marcus Aurelius wrote these words during war. His empire was breaking apart. Friends betrayed him. Plagues killed thousands. And yet, in his private journal, he wrote, "No one can harm me, for I will not allow it." What did he mean? He meant that harm is not what happens to you. Harm is what you decide it means. You can lose money, but not integrity. You can lose love, but not wisdom. You can lose comfort, but not courage. Everything external can be taken, except your judgment. Marcus Aurelius warned, Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. This is not about words, it's about discipline. Every time life hits you, you have two choices: to collapse into reaction or to stand calmly in your citadel. The more you practice, the thicker those walls become. Over time, insults lose their sting, loss loses its power, and the only battle left is the one within, between wisdom and impulse.
Law number 10. Love everything that happens. A blazing fire makes flame and brightness out of everything that is thrown into it. This is the crown of Stoic wisdom, the point where resistance ends and harmony begins. It's not enough to accept fate. The Stoic goes further. They love it. The Latin phrase Amor Fati means love of fate. It doesn't mean passivity. It means saying yes to life, completely, fiercely, unconditionally. When something painful happens, most people ask, "Why me?" The Stoic asks, "What is this trying to teach me?" And eventually, they learn to say, "I'm grateful this happened because it was meant for my growth." Marcus Aurelius wrote, "A blazing fire turns everything thrown into it into light and heat." That's Amor Fati. Everything, betrayal, loss, failure, loneliness, is fuel for the fire of your soul. You can curse it, or you can burn brighter because of it. Seneca said, "A good person dyes events with his own color. Whatever happens, he turns it to his advantage." The Stoic doesn't wait for a perfect life. They build perfection out of whatever life gives. To love fate is not to enjoy suffering. It's to trust that even suffering belongs to the pattern of the universe. It's to believe that the same intelligence that moves the stars also moves through your obstacles. Every event is a brushstroke in a painting too vast for you to see. You may not understand the design, but you are part of it. When you accept that, peace stops being temporary. It becomes permanent, because nothing can arrive that you are not willing to embrace. Imagine your life as a mountain path. The stones that trip you are part of the same mountain that holds you up. The storm that drenches you also fills the river you drink from. Fate is not your enemy. It's the teacher that never stops showing up until you understand the lesson. You have now walked through the 10 brutal Stoic laws that kill negative thinking. Control what you can. Perception is power. Focus on virtue. Memento Mori. The obstacle is the way. Speak less, think more. The discipline of assent. The view from above, the inner citadel. Amor Fati. Each one is a weapon. Together, they form an unbreakable mind, a mind that no fear, insult, or circumstance can control. And that is the Stoics' victory, not in changing the world, but in mastering themselves within it.